Concentrate power. You're in the dog zone for an hour. Come on. You know the number. 1-900 hot dog. 1-900 hot dog. 1-900 hot dog. Yeah, 9,000.
Welcome to the DOGGZZONE 9000, the official podcast of 1-900hotdog.com. We have a world-class team of talented writers who find the most cursed things and then write jokes. It's like the good old days of the internet. Every day, dial 1-900-HOT-DOG for laughs. We do this ad-free because generous users like you go to patreon.com/1-900hotdog and subscribe to get daily articles, Discord events, bonus podcasts. We're the best. I'm Sean Baby from the World Wide Web, and my partner is Bulge, Minnesota's Buns to Watch. Honorable mention, 2017, the great Robert Brockway.
And how far I've slid since then. My God, to think that was my peak was Buns to Watch. Honorable mention. Here's a Brockway fact. I was disqualified from a match for dousing my opponent in human blood before the fight. There will be no follow-up questions.
I was there for that. I remember it well. It was my blood, some of it. Our guest created the theme song you maybe just heard. He's one half of Oral Knots. That's with an A-U, oral, I'm saying it right. He's our great friend, Zak Koonce.
Oh, shit. I'm a dog fighter. I don't know. I didn't prepare anything for this. It's been so long.
I think I'm a dog fighter. That works in any context.
Yeah,
that's usually, it's a real attention grabber, a real conversation starter. Today we are talking dog fights, combat, best kind of combat, stupid combat. But before we do that, where can people find more of you, Zak?
Oh, well, we're just over on YouTube doing our thing, just doing our part to bring levity to the people while our own minds are being ripped apart by the unceasing waves of anxiety caused by the state of the world. It's fun stuff over there.
I really liked your Star Wars Cantina video.
Yeah, we've been trying some new stuff that doesn't quite so easily get copyright claimed. So it's the Van Damme playbook. It's double me, and just talking shit about aliens. So we have one that's like about the Penguin, one that's about...
Oh, yeah. It's your third double you.
Yeah, triple double me. We got a Warhammer one,
I think
too.
11 more, and you will have beat Jean-Claude Van Damme. So, I mean...
I've got a goal. I'm shooting for it.
I'm trying to think. Did that start with Van Damme?
Maybe Jackie Chan.
There was
probably.
a Jackie Chan movie, but I can't remember if that was before Double Trouble or not.
Yeah.
It's Double Dragons, right?
Double Dragons. Yeah, there's two of them, I think. I think Double Dragons might have been the first one. Twin
Dragons.
Yeah.
And Double Impact. But, I mean, other than that, you were exactly right.
Other than every fourth word that you said, most of it would have been correct, yes.
Yeah.
This is pedantic 80s Kung Fu correction hour.
My mind is garbage. It's fine.
Hey, I also wrote an article for you guys. That's another thing I've been up to. That was a fun time.
That's true. For Hunk Week, you wrote about 1987's movie Hunk.
Come on our podcast and plug our site for us.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just wanted to get in on it because that was probably the best plug for your site I ever heard. It was sincere. It contained real information, an actual destination to go to. I'm kind of blown away.
Thank you. We're trying to get better about it. We recognize that it's not our strength, which I've always been very comfortable with. But now that we have so many writers and we live in this rotten growth economy, we kind of have to grow with it, or money means less and less. I
do like how you still use that tone of like, get a load of this asshole. You're like, well, we got a website that does pretty great.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
But it's been 5 years, so I think we went from we can't do it to we're doing it ironically, and then we've been doing it ironically for so long that it may be sincere.
Yeah, and the next step is doing it courtesy of MeUndies.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get there.
Yeah, I like that we have avoided a sponsor. Someday we might have a sponsor, and I hope nobody hates us if we ever have to do that. But we're like of the generation where like just making money feels like selling out. You're like, God,
I give you permission to hate us if we get a sponsor.
Yeah.
I mean, still continue listening and give us money, but you can hate us for it.
Yeah, we'll hate you from our free mattress, asshole. I guess let's talk about the thing we're here to talk about, because it is 4 hours long.
Holy shit.
1% of it was fighting. We watched Dogfight Wild Tournament 3. I wrote about the first two tournaments on the site. They were instant classics. I'm a real treat. But Zach, do you want to take a shot, like explaining this fighting league?
Yeah, this is definitely a YouTuber thing, like Jake Paul's boxing events. It's definitely trying to be that. This guy, Jordy Wild, is a Jake Paul of Spain. So he's trying to put on his fighting spectacle. But I give him full props for variety. I went into this I went in blind. I was like, okay, it's MMA shit. I've seen team fighting stuff before out of Russia, and but he was still able to throw me some curveballs. I'm impressed by the campiness of it and the spectacle. But it's a variety fight event. There's, I guess that's the best way to describe it. Yeah.
All kinds of violence. It's every kind of freak show. It's I guess if you're familiar with the wrestling games, it's like a child designing a pay-per-view on a WWE 2K. Like every match has insane rules between like two really undercooked creator wrestlers.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing is these aren't like seasoned fighters. Most of these people have 0 to 3 fights on their record.
Most of them were probably the best guy at their local gym.
Yeah.
That's the most I'm willing to give them.
Yeah, a lot of them look like they might not have known they were doing this in the morning.
100%.
Right.
Like that morning, if you had asked them, are you
Absolutely.
going to fight a guy in a car today? They would have gone like, probably not.
My captions were a mess and I couldn't trust any of it, but from what I understand, there may have been 2 last minute replacements. So that you may have been like literally correct. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Yep. The other thing is these events don't have a real talent pool or legacy. Like you can't be like, let's get the best 1-on-3 fighter in the world because like they just don't do it that often. There's no training camp specializing in that. What I love about this is it seems like it's trying to reclaim that confused madness of the early UFCs, which was kind of like my favorite time for combat sports, where we're just learning what worked in real time.
Yes.
Like a guy would come in and say like, I'm doing my fucking Shotokan karate. I'm sure this is going to work. It's not working. I'm going to die. And we're like, this is the best.
This has a great vibe. You told me that it's 4 hours long, and I said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And you said, no, you could just scrub through the fight. So I did scrub through, but as I'm scrubbing through, I catch like just images before the first fight starts. And what I caught was what looked like a soccer riot. Some sort of nerd doing katas in armor.
Yeah.
Some hilarious capoeira. I was like, oh my god, there's going to be capoeira in this.
Yep.
A row of tubby centurions in like spirit Halloween costumes, like Roman costumes. Nothing had like the sequence of images in that order was so. I was so sure that I was going to watch someone die. Like this is like how you prepare someone to watch someone else die.
That's a really good point because I do think they've built a time bomb. Like if you have 20 matches where one big guy fights 3 little guys, somebody's going to die. That's just like statistically one of them is going to get fucked up.
Like it's too much. Like these are the exact images. This is what you would put on the Clockwork Orange tape if you were trying to like psychically neuter like a Joe Rogan fan.
And the images you described were like you scrubbed past the first 3 minutes of the broadcast.
Yeah.
That's all those things happened within 3 minutes.
It was just absolutely certain I was going to witness a death in this. And I'm not 100% sure that I didn't.
There may be a body in
there is like a real dipshit kind of danger to it. Like a backyard wrestling kind of impending accident coming that
no like intentional these guys were such a good fighter that he couldn't help. Somebody just getting their neck caught in like a steering wheel in the wrong way. And you're like, why would you? This is why we don't do that.
This is the worst kind of danger because it's nobody in this knows enough to like intentionally hurt anybody. This is all beginner level danger, which if you've ever been in like a mixed martial arts environment or a jiu-jitsu gym, no one ever wants to go with the new guy because they're just spazzes that they're more of a danger to themselves than anyone else.
For sure.
Like we had to rediscover why fighting rings are empty spaces. Like that's been established for a real long time. Like the second guy to get in a big fight was like, maybe we should clear the whole area.
Let's get some of the debris out of here. There's in the last event, there was a guy and he fought 3 guys and the 3 guys obviously jumped on him and beat his ass for like a full round, but they were so bad at fighting, like they couldn't get a knockout. So he survived it. And then he just said, fuck it, these guys can't hurt me. And he just grabbed a guillotine and started cranking on the dude's head. And the guy was so fucking green, like he never tapped. And like, there's so many hands and referees and blims that the refs are like, we can't even see what's going on in there. And I'm like, yep, that was fucking just barely not a death. Just barely. and that was the first time they tried it.
Did you for sure see him stand back up again? Because
That is a good point. I don't really know Spanish very well, so he might have said, holy shit.
That's my number one rule when I see a video of like, you know, somebody getting hurt. I was like, I need the video to keep going. I need to see them get up and to make sure I didn't just witness a death.
I guess the other thing that I want to talk about this fighting league before we get into the fights is there's a real indulgence to it. Like every match has a post-fight interview with both competitors, and they go back and forth far beyond what you'd think is necessary. The first event, the main event, was these two guys. Both of them had exactly 0 pro fights. And one of them is just this insane Russian beefcake. I said he looked like a Scott Adkins movie boss. He just looks like the king of the Russian prison. And he got his head knocked off after one spinning elbow. And then he hugged the guy who did it, like, I swear to Christ, for 7 hours. Then they opened the next event with a rematch between the two guys, and they did the same thing at the stare down before the fight, after the fight. They were doing anime poses broken up by big hugs. And then it's going to sound crazy, but after one of the guys got out grappled and like completely housed on the ground. And then after they did all the post-fight interviews, his coach comes into the ring to award him his blue belt. He's like, you missed a takedown and got completely fucking clowned. You're now a blue belt. And so then they had to do post-fight interviews about that. And so it has this feeling that's everybody's fucking birthday, right? Like everyone is like winner or loser. It's just like, I'm a new person. I had my first fight. Don't you guys want to share this with me? But after like fucking 3 hours of that, you're like, who is this event for? Certainly not me, the viewer. I'm glad you're having fun. Keep that in mind, that all of these little awesome events are very, very brief and broken up with just so much indulgent, like...
Dude, they brought a roast comic out. I know we'll get there, but like...
Yes.
I was... Like, when I say that I didn't know what was going to happen next,
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought this guy was going to come out for like a minute or two. And it's like, I scrubbed ahead just to see. It's like, oh, this he's doing a 30-minute set.
He's doing a 30-minute
insane.
set. Yeah. Which is, he replaced like the death metal band from last time.
Oh, no.
I assumed a couple of the fighters died. Like some of these people were supposed to come back, and they're like,
Right.
no, you gotta.
Yeah,
you
they're
gotta,
like, bad news, boss. The pigs ate those guys. We got to do something else
I
today.
know you've been working on a stand-up routine. Time to see if it's 30 minutes worth. Let's all find out together.
Yeah, let's just, I guess, go through the event. The first fight, I loved the concept of it. They were trying to do, like, desperately recreate the world I mentioned, that world that only existed for 5 minutes where style faces off against style. So they had a Muay Thai guy against a capoeira guy. But there's no rules against using other stuff.
Robert called this one out. This had to be the awesome capoeira demo you saw. Because
Yeah.
these two dudes that came out were just amazing.
Every time I see somebody about to use capoeira, like my instinct is immediately, oh, this is going to be funny.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've never been
was.
wrong.
Yep.
These guys have never like capoeira sparred with each other before. They're little,
It's
cute little
always
near miss
funny.
kicks.
Yeah.
And then the guy that like went for the high five and just never got it.
Like I don't speak Spanish, but I think they introduced this capoeira guy as having the maximum amount of blood. Was that right?
Yeah, el sangre maximo. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he said he has the maximum amount of blood, which I think is like, yeah, that's how I would introduce like a capoeira
This guy is ready to pop. He is the blood man.
Just a big swollen tick of a fighter.
One wrong kick and it's over. It's a fucking Gallagher show now. They even had like the little Barham bow. They brought out the whole.
Yeah.
This was like full blown capoeira.
They were going to only the strong this shit. I think capoeira rules, and some people have used it in MMA, like Michael Pereira fucks people up with it. Marcus Aurelio had some moments. There was a Genki Sudo fight, I think, where he just decided to see if you could win a fight using only capoeira. But he was like a one-of-a-kind violence pixie.
He was able to do that because he was good at so many other
he's
things.
so much better. Right. But everyone else eventually stops acting silly once people start bashing into them, and they're like, all right. I'll punch like a normal person.
All right, we'll do this for real. I'm sorry.
So this is a kickboxing match. They didn't do a lot of capoeira. Sometimes he would like rev up for a capoeira kick and the guy would just move backwards and like
the announcers would get so excited when he did that. They got, oh my god, he's gonna, and then he would just like immediately reconsider. Like,
yes,
okay,
whatever. He's also, we got all the foibles of like amateur fights where he has a store-bought mouthpiece, so he keeps popping out of his mouth every time something happens. And,
Then he looked at it one time like it was someone else's fault that it fell out. He's like, God damn it.
and he kept hitting the mat, and he kept putting it back in his mouth. Like even in a professional environment, I wouldn't do that. In this environment where I'm sure somebody was here fighting some kind of animal.
There was some
not very
toes
long
on that
ago.
spot at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
He ate some staph infection. Definitely
Yeah,
ate
he's
enough
good.
staph infection to like have a meaningful amount of calories. Like if he was counting calories, he had to put like 2 tablespoons staph.
He fixed it like you fix Mega Man 2. Got it. I got all the bacteria off of there. I did like how the Muay Thai guy won with leg kicks, which is, the most Muay Thai attack.
Dude,
I think
like the first kick that got him too.
Yep. And he like made a big old hammy show about it too. He's like, "What the fuck did you set me with? Oh, my leg!"
Yeah.
Like just
And then that was like
So
all he needed. He's
theatric.
like, "Oh, dude, I'm
Yeah,
spamming leg kick for the rest of this fight."
kick
He
that
just
shit.
didn't
Yeah, it's
try to
not,
hide
it doesn't look great. It's not a dramatic way to win, but I guess it works if you just take away a man's leg for the fight.
it sucks for sure.
You said this is the first time people experience a lot of this stuff. He's never been
Yeah.
leg kicked before. That
No.
was his first.
He did not like that.
I can't believe there's a fucking 10 count, and this is an MMA fight.
Well, this has special rules
Right. I missed a lot of those special rules because, like I said, my captions were so bad.
because they didn't want it to be an MMA fight. So they're like, there's no
Yeah.
groundwork. They just stand it back up like a kickboxing match. I think they should have gone further. I think you should have like karate nerd judges who dock you points whenever you use an off-style attack. Like they watch the capoeira guy for non-cartwheels. They're like, nope, fuck that. There was no cartwheel with that punch. -1 point.
I saw no funk, no soul in that.
no
that
funk.
was a straightforward. So that was an accountant's punch. No, thank you.
Yeah. So this guy loses to leg kick.
But I like the idea of trying to recreate Bloodsport. In fact, both these guys could theoretically someday be good fighters. They weren't like, cowards or whatever,
Capoeira did fail to stop a guy who was coming in on 2 days' notice. So that's a bad look for Capoeira.
Sure.
What was up with the guy? Like you said, they interviewed the loser too. And while they're interviewing the loser, another guy comes to the ring and like challenges the loser.
Yeah, that's what
was
I mean.
confused. Like, is this? Do we get to see 2 losers? Like, or is this guy just like, hey, you seem like an easy fight. I can't.
Loser rules.
I got to get in on this. Yeah.
Special loser only fight.
I'm sure, Zach, you've been to Smokers where like it's so infectious when you see like really bad fighters like going at it. You're like, oh my god, I could fuck these guys up. I got to get in there.
Yeah.
I feel like that
Get my
guy's just
shit right now.
he's just feeling that energy. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go beat that guy's ass. The next match was a ladies no rules bare knuckle fight. One of them was 2-8, and the other one was having her first fight. No rules is the dumbest kind of sensationalism for this stuff because like rules don't really come up a lot in MMA. Like you're not allowed to bite or hit people in the dick. But again, that doesn't come up a ton. And if you're John Jones, you just poke him in the eye and nobody cares
You
anyway.
just poke him in the eye and it's fine. Yeah.
I had no idea what was different. Like I saw, oh shit, no rules fight. This looked exactly like every other.
Well, they did
MMA fight
introduce
I've ever
the
seen.
Yes Castro. She's from Mexico, and the announcer said, according to my captions, "Here comes Mexico, Mexican blood warrior blood."
And then he said, "Yes, Castro."
Yes,
So
Castro.
she was Yes Castro from Mexico in Spain. That is very Spanish. Maximum Spanish.
I just loved it because like I didn't even have captions on, so I just would hear the whole thing and then yes, Castro. It's just like,
And then every once in a while, a guy would go, "Oy, oy, 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 oy."
which was maybe his catchphrase.
Yeah, I think that's Spanish for like, "Oh my god."
Watching Fidel Castro kill it at a drag show. Yes, Castro.
Oy, 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 oy.
So that changes things. Bare knuckle fights generally suck because it makes people more cautious and also like really externalizes the trauma. So everyone turns into like a big lumpy bruise by the end of the fight.
Yeah.
Which sucks to look at, sucks for them. I think they should market it like if it's no rules, they should be like full eye claws and biting. Like they should come in straight jacket, maybe dressed up like werewolves a little bit, like just fucking gnashing at each other handlessly. That's my
wrapping the
pitch.
barbed wire.
Like just explore the space. Like you should be able, if there's no rules, you should be able to jury rig up like mechanisms. You should be able to come in there and do like electricity attacks like Blanco.
Yeah.
Like just
Surprise gun. That's a good move for a no rules fight.
if you can manage it, if you can rig it up,
Surprise gun.
just tape yourself all over with tasers.
Guess who forgot to check my asshole before this fight? I know the referee was real serious about sniffing those gloves, but he didn't sniff my asshole, and now I got a gun. Did you see the guy? He sniffed the gloves every round.
Yeah, but that dude sniffed those assholes too. I know he did.
That was off camera. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no fight cause for sniffing the gloves. That's That's just a him thing. A little something for me.
Did you put knockout powder on the? I'm going to take a big whiff of these fists, and if I fall asleep, oh, you're in trouble.
They call me fentanyl fists for a reason.
This fight was crazy because I knew that Yamila Sanchez, she was the Muay Thai fighter with like no fights. She did the ultimate beginner move, which was she grabbed her opponent's head and then just refused to let go of it.
Yep.
No matter how bad of a position she got into. And I was like, okay, this is what we're dealing with.
Real
here.
green.
These people know fucking nothing. They're just tough, which is rad.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
They're tough girls.
I'm here for it.
But they both look like Dick Tracy villains at the end of the fight. Like they were just
oh my God.
So this lumpy monster skulls they went home with for kind of a fine fight, kind of boring, but
yeah, kind of a fine fight. Yeah, Yes had a lump on her eye that was so big you could see it from the back.
Yeah,
sounds
dude.
like I'm being like a sexual predator thing to say, but I was like, oh, it's so fat you could see it from the back, girl.
got that fat orbital.
I'm talking about your eye. Yeah,
Oh,
your
girl.
shit is fucked up.
Hell yeah.
I like big eyes and I cannot lie.
This is a classic clash of styles, though. Yamila did not know how to do a guillotine, and Yes didn't know how to escape a bad guillotine. So it
It's a perfect
was
matchup.
very made for exciting times. Yeah.
The Athletic Commission really did a good job approving this fight. I say that knowing there's a 90% chance there's no Athletic Commission involved in this at all.
There can't be.
There can't be.
No, there's no way. Well, they would not have allowed the next fight.
That's very true. Yeah. So, okay, those women went home lopsided and purple. Let's talk about this fight, which is amazing. It is a full fucking knight armor battle.
This is the first time I texted you. I was like, I didn't understand what I was getting into. I was like, dude, I thought, because you like UFC does it and these guys are doing it. They have like a warrior throughout time thing. They, like in the intro, UFC will show a guy in a gladiator arena, like rubbing dust between his fingers. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this knight is just more of that. And I was like, wait, no, he's walking towards the ring.
No
wait
mascot.
a minute.
They have
Yep.
a full fight.
He's still in full plate.
And one guy looks like you'd expect. He looks like he doesn't. This is not his first pretend sword fight. And the other one is just a full hunk. The other was just a John Hamm in armor.
The community hates this guy. He's
Yes.
way too handsome.
I wrote down he is way too handsome to be doing this. This is his first time. And I believe I was
You
correct.
might be right.
He looks like a Ren Fair guy. It's an international look. You place them anywhere in the world.
In the movies, you would bet on the handsome guy. That's your main character. Whereas, like, in an actual Renaissance fair, you'd bet on the chubby guy. But since this isn't reality and it's maybe not quite entertainment, kind of.
You bet on the mountain. You don't bet on, Pedro Pascal. Like
Yeah.
that's,
Another hot tip if you're watching amateur fights, if one of the guys is super gym buff, he's going to get fucked up by the chubby dude. That's just how it works out.
I do like the handsome guy. Diego was wearing his frock, his like knight smock was just a sleeveless, single-breasted suit jacket over his armor.
It's very, very formal.
The business night.
Yeah. I wish he had a name like American Psycho or something, but
What I thought this was when they first started it was more interesting than what it wound up being, because they showed the like ordinary kind of balding dude come out, and he had a really comically tiny shield
You
and
get
like
a little baby
little
buckler.
tin sword.
And Falchion.
And then the other guy comes out, the gym buff guy comes out, and I was like, okay, so is this like we're gonna see an ordinary guy in armor and he has weapons, and then we're gonna see like a trained fighter and he does not
So
have
awesome.
weapons? I would love. That's what I thought we were getting into.
Greco-Roman wrestling versus sword.
Like that's 100% what I thought this was gonna be. It was like, oh hell yeah, let's do this. But they both had to use their tiny shitty swords and their little tiny shields.
But the hunk had like a better shield. He had like it was longer.
He had like a
it was
real one.
Yeah. And I feel like shield bash throat punch shield bash is the most OP move that anyone threw.
Yeah. Those little swords were not sharpened and they had no mass. They were very clearly. They did absolutely nothing when they hit. They didn't even really rattle the helmet. But getting bashed with that shield looked like it sucked a lot.
So much better than the sword.
When Big Guy started getting tired, he just quit trying to block the sword. He just let him hit him in the face.
Let him hit him in
He was
the
like,
face.
okay, well, these do nothing. He rejected the premise because he was so tired. He was like, no.
Yeah. I wrote that as soon as they came out, I wrote down there's two ways this fight ends. Some bullshit point system that we don't know about, or one of them is too exhausted to continue, possibly.
I can't imagine
both.
that armor's light. I mean, I'm sure that's...
No, like, your tactic should be, you get in that fight, just sweeps. Like, and let him hit you with a bullshit sword and knock him down, because you're only getting up like 5 times.
Or 0 times.
That's true.
What happened with Big Guy.
he got fucked up.
Yeah.
Because, Hunk in the third round, when the big guy has no gas left, he hits him with a rock bottom or a Osotogari, whatever you want to call it. And he just is dead, just completely helpless. He's just like rammed up against the side of the cage, just getting unlimited shield bashes to his head.
I thought he was really dead.
The way he was motionless.
When you say motionless, yeah.
I just thought he was overwhelmed with like the sheer pointlessness of this exercise. It was like he had the exact posture, and maybe it's just because of like the way the armor was shaped when he went limp. But he had the exact posture of Tim Robinson, and I think you should leave when he has too much shit on him. He was just
too
like,
much fucking shit on me.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here.
That one where he's sinking into his phone when he's like losing the argument, and he sinks. That was exact posture.
Yeah, it was just like full mental retreat. Bash me with the little sword. It's annoying.
Like, what are
best.
the rules when you can't actually stab somebody in a stabbing contest? Like, I don't.
It's like hearing a bad doorbell over and over again. Just
the ref, the rules are very serious. The ref was like, "Do not fucking stab this guy," because if you really wanted to win, you would like ram that little baby sword up into the armpit, and like there goes the guy. If this was me, if this is a sport and it continues, I think I go in with double shield or Thor hammers, double Thor hammers. I would fucking circle to the side and just bash you, tenderize you with Thor hammers all day long.
Yeah, if you're not allowed to have a shield, just go in with your hands. It's better. The hands are better than that sword. That sword was little pirate play swords.
I want to try leg kicking with the armor on. I don't know if that would make your leg kick so slow it would suck, or if you suddenly have like the most impossible battering ram for a leg. Yeah. I feel like, but a front kick to the armor, that's your move too.
Yeah.
But the tapping him with your baby play sword was obviously stupid. The big guy threw a headbutt, which I thought was awesome as shit.
Oh, he did it a couple times. He was all about that headbutt. He was definitely tired of getting shield chopped in the throat. That couldn't have felt good.
But yeah, I would like to see more of that, but I think 25 of those and you lose somebody. 25 of those, somebody dies.
Yeah, or maybe this one.
Or, yeah, he might not have made it home.
Yeah, like, I don't know if that guy ate food again.
Yep.
You would have to show me. Show me the guy eating food afterwards to let me know that it's all okay.
I need to sit him down with at least a bowl of baby food. Like, it's got to be solid. Doesn't have to be solid.
You're right. It should have been a 10-hour broadcast just to verify for the viewers that all these people made it home alive.
Well, they didn't fucking cut anything else. Why not?
Our next fight is a 2-on-2 match. One of the teams is the two guys who hugged for 5 hours, Zdravko and Aitor. And then two guys with way, way less chemistry.
Oh, my God.
This is a fun fact. Zdravko and Aitor's pro fight experience, every second of it has been with each other.
Aw.
This is their third fight.
So these guys fought each other before in the last event? Okay.
They split the wins. Here they are now on the same team because they did fall in love in front of all of us.
Aitor does Spanish jiu-jitsu, which I thought was a real petty distinction. I was like, is this...
Yeah.
Which turns out is actually the worst of all jiu-jitsus based on his performance. And Zdravko...
He has a blue belt in it.
Zdravko looks like a fucking Russian war criminal.
Exactly.
I knew he wasn't going to be that tough. He was tough, sure, whatever. It's hard to say based on his competition, but you generally in these kind of events, when someone looks that scary, I feel like the rule is they spent too much time trying to get that scary looking and not enough time just training.
Agreed.
So I was like, oh yeah, he looks scary, but I could tell he's got no gas tank.
See, I kind of thought that too, but then they brought the little guy in. See, this is a 2-on-2 match, but there are three guys of more or less equal size, which is to say huge, and then a real little guy. I was like, okay, so they have to like surely be aware of this, and that means like the little guy has the most training out of all of them. No.
And they also brought a little guy and a 47-year-old.
Yes.
Who does capoeira. Like another, like, dude, every time, like, everyone in these fights at least does capoeira, and they list it proudly as the first thing. And I'm like, you shouldn't do that. You really shouldn't.
You need to save it for the very end of your list of skills, because that's the punchline. Like, you don't say it first off.
If you said you're a 47-year-old capoeira fighter, and then somebody else says, "Yeah, I'm a 43-year-old chef," I pick the chef. If that's all I have to go by, yeah,
he's good with knives, like something.
Chefs are tough,
great under pressure.
But this does not go well. It is just stupid chaos. They pair off and start bashing. I have no idea what's happening. I don't even know what the strategy could be here. I guess you split up and either beat your guy But also, I think if you did this enough, people would start to develop new strategies. Like, let's team up on one dude real quick, and then we'll get the next guy. Like, I also like the idea of clinching with a guy and then pulling him over and kicking your guy. Like, that might be fun to try.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Or you could try what the little guy did, which was to eat a flying knee very first thing.
Yeah.
Like, he looked really surprised that the other guy was fighting. He's like, what are we doing? Like, he might have missed the bell.
But then it actually ended kind of awesome because one guy tries a spinning heel kick on Zdravko and just like bounces off. Like just nothing happens. He goes flying off, hits
he
the
falls down
cage.
and is like stunned.
Yeah,
it,
he's like
stunned him.
He's like, I quit. I don't know what happened.
He shut down. That was I've been training with my sensei and we determined like that's my crane kick. I didn't work at all.
So Zdravko is going to sit on him and like beat him up. And then he sees his friend. They're like kind of fighting for ankle locks over there with the Spanish
Oh my
jiu-jitsu.
God. This white belt leg lock war.
Yeah, it was real. I knew you'd hate that. And so Zdravko's like, oh, he has an idea. He just goes and starts bonking the other guy on the head which helped. So his teammate got the leg lock. And I was like, yeah. Which is actually a really good defense against a leg lock.
What these guys were doing is the exact reason why you're not allowed to do leg locks in tournaments if you're below a certain belt rank.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because you're just going to get two idiots who don't actually know how to do one, just like probably doing more damage to themselves than the other person.
Just almost tearing an ACL for 40 minutes.
And you can just see the look in their face. They're like, what if I tried this? And they're just trying things out on each other. This agreed upon 50-50. Anyway, I hated it. I'm glad he got punched in the face.
Just kind of an aggressive foot play at that point.
And I've said it before, but he should have tickled him, you know? There's always that.
They should have incorporated tickles. There's no rules. What happens after that, after they win, they were hit with the same surprise my brother and I got when we beat Double Dragon the first time. They had to fight each other. So this is their fourth fight. Each of their guys' fourth fight, and every second of it is against each other or with each other.
I was very happy about the Double Dragon surprise.
Yeah,
but
it's so awesome.
it didn't amount to much because then Zdravko just tapped him in the face a couple times and it was over.
Which one of you is less tired? Which one of you did more work during the fight? You lose, sir.
I thought this fight was funny, not just because they're best friends and didn't seem to know this was the rules of the fight, but also like Aitor was like trying to slip punches, like hands down, just slip punches like he's Kung Lee or something. And and I was like, this is not going to end well. And sure enough, like the third try, he didn't quite slip far enough back and he got hit in the head with a haymaker. I'm like, yeah, dude.
I think he was just too tired to put his hands up. I think being bad at leg locks is exhausting.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he worked. Maybe not better, but he worked way harder and was therefore screwed over for it. Like that's bad fight design,
yes,
if that's a
really
thing.
Is. Yeah, I think that's all. These are bad fight design. That's a good way to put it. A lot of hugs.
Zdravko spec'd entirely into blunt damage rejection. All he had to do is like let a kick bounce off of him, and then he was the winner of the night.
He stunned that motherfucker like a villain in Punch Out. Just you gotta block at the right time, and then he'll just let you.
Yeah, the perfect parry bonus caused a 40-second stun.
This next fight, this guy does understand comic timing because he lists himself as a boxer, a BJJ specialist, kickboxer, and capoeira.
Nice. Hailed, yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Somebody's got it.
These guys are very experienced fighters. This was Abner Llaveras and Felipe Paraguina, who, Abner's name is Skullman. But but they don't have...
Okay, so I was going to ask which one is Skullman, because one of these guys, I didn't have captions on and was not necessarily scrubbing through like the introduction, so it was just the little fight ticker that I see, and for approximately the first half of the fight, one guy's name is Skullman.
Yes,
like
Skullman,
his first and last name are both Skullman, and then halfway through the fight, it's changed to Skullman Abner, and I'm not sure if that's like a power-up into his next form, or like a demotion. Like he lost one of the Skullmen?
Well, he comes into the fight with two Skullmans, and he lost one in the first round.
He lost a Okay, I was wondering, did he gain an Abner or lose a Skullman?
He's Abner Lewis in the third round. And eventually he becomes a Kevin, which is the lowest you can get.
Oh, I got to go back because speaking of nicknames, we failed to mention it. The big, goofy medieval times guy was Cachorro, which is puppy. I just thought that was cute. I'm sad we missed it. Anyway.
Wait, the nerd or the hunk?
The nerd.
Okay.
Just a big nerd named Puppy.
But yeah, Skullman has about 50 fights. He was on Ultimate Fighter, so like people would probably recognize him.
Was he? I did not recognize him.
It was the Conor McGregor season, I think. Looks like his nose has been broken like 40 times. Like I saw that guy, I'm like, okay, well this guy's done this before.
I know how he blocks punches.
But this was an extreme fight with no gloves, maybe no rules, I don't know.
15-minute running clock.
Yeah, it's just brutal, and it just was a full submission match. They hardly threw any shots except the little baby punches.
Mm-hmm.
Such little baby bops.
Yeah, little baby bops.
Such little tiny bops. I mean, it looked like they eventually did damage, but most of this fight was Skullman getting like gently bopped in the head while making a face that says, "Man, I wish I wasn't getting bopped in the head right now."
hate these head bops.
Like a toddler just bopping him, and he's like, "I'm not going to yell at you."
This is annoying, dude. Come on.
Zach, you might have noticed he went for a rear naked choke and got flipped over his back, but then held on for a minute. So he had like an inverted mounted guillotine for like half a second. I was like, he almost popped his head off. I think it's a move worth exploring. I think he might have invented. But anyway, Skullman survives a ton.
That's a different kind of can opener. Yeah.
Right.
See, this match ended without me ever understanding what made this one extreme. Like, how is this more extreme than any of the others? I know I don't know a lot about fighting, so you're going to need to have like two guys in armor show up for me to go, oh, this is not normal.
Right. I think the first thing is that there was no rounds. It was just one solid 15-minute clock. So there was no rest.
And no gloves.
That's pretty extreme.
And that's it.
No gloves. And if you like, in mixed martial arts, even with like the UFC like light gloves, the most common injury is still a broken hand. Like those things do not protect your hand. And if you have no gloves on, like the punches become like...
I really want to do this?
You're going to break your own hand before you break someone's face.
Careful toddler bops.
Yeah, little bops.
What we've determined.
That explains the little bops.
So otherwise perfectly ordinary fight. Whatever extreme rules are, they did not come into play much. The next was, this is as stupid as it will ever be. Pelea de coche! Fucking car fight.
I laughed pretty hard when they introduced this, because the way they started it was they were both sitting in the back seat, buckled in their seatbelts.
I didn't realize we were about to start fighting. Like they to show the car.
I thought it was product placement, and then they were
like cuts to these two guys that are just kind of like smiling in the back, like together. I was like, oh, they're just like guys that are going to show us how this works. But like, and then this guy goes, begin, and they just start fucking punching each other.
Funny.
I was like, oh,
it's two brothers on a long car trip with one Game Boy. Go
exactly. Like it looks like a road trip gone wrong. Like this is the setup. Is you're out here with your family and you're bored. And somebody's just said the wrong. It's time to start fighting.
It's time to fight. Yeah, one like when they reveal him, one guy's like smiling and he's like kind of hyped. The other guy's just kind of got this 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah,
like he's being forced to do this against his will. But it turns out he's the psycho. Like he loves this shit.
It's obviously this is stupid. They're all tangled up in boxing because they do start seatbelted, so you have to make that choice. Do I unseatbelt myself or start bashing first? And they both chose a different one, which I thought was really interesting.
And yet I could not tell you which was the superior tactic.
It really didn't seem to make much of a difference.
Fight 2 shows you a little bit more about those choices.
I just wish they were allowed to train, like in the car. Like if you're going to put, because it did not look like they knew they were going to do this. But if you were allowed to train, like, especially in the model of the car, you could be an expert in that car, start popping out cup holders in the guy's eye and shit.
You could like, how do you even like? You have like a friend. You're like, Sean, I know you got a coupe at home. Let me train it, bro. He's like, dude, get the fuck away from me. I'm not letting you fight train in my car.
I need to know how to set the GPS real quick. I mean, real quick.
We run a world-class coupe gym. It's just, can you imagine like taking fight training from a guy and that's his gym? He's like, all right, here's the gym. It's just, it's convertible. You're like, oh, I get it. You're a pervert.
I was really waiting for one of the guys to just hop in the driver's seat and start driving it. I mean,
okay, straight up, that should be the rules. They should have to like grapple together to like drive somewhere. That should be like they're fighting each other, but together they have to keep the car from like falling off of something. Like that's the fucking event.
At all times, one must be driving.
Yes.
It's like wrestling when you start in the referee position. Like, all right, this time it's Hector's turn to drive. You have to avoid the choke.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think the people that put this together, based on everything I've seen so far, had enough foresight to chalk the wheels of this car. So I know you don't have the keys, But I think you could at least pop the handbrake down, put it in neutral,
100%.
get some shit rolling, and see what
Roll
happens.
out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I've seen, like, this was okay, because I've seen car fights inside convertibles, which look super claustrophobic. Like, I have, like, a panic attack when I watch those. And I've seen phone booth fights, which is another level of insanity. So this one was kind of, like, a little more tame in terms of, like, they had some breathing room, they had some room to move.
And I've seen a guy pushed out a car window and hammered in the ass for 20 minutes. It wasn't a fight that I know of.
No follow-up questions.
No follow-up questions.
But that's what happened in this, is that one of the guys just got bent over the doors and then hammered in the ass.
And it took me a while to realize it was like sumo rules. Like, oh, you just have to throw the other guy out of the car, and that's an automatic
I think
win.
if you knock him out or submit him, that's also a win, but it's also sumo rules, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought that's what was... Yeah, I thought it was like the primary goal was just to do like MMA shit. But it's like, oh, no, you can ring out, too.
I think if you run him over, you win, too.
Yeah, that's a solid win. I mentioned this when you talk about Bloodsport, because if you could throw someone off the Bloodsport platform, that's a win. So you've made sumo like that. Like within a year, that will just develop into sumo exactly. Here's my idea for this. Like, if they're not going to share responsibility for steering the moving car, fine. But if this was a hot tub, I think it's the same sport but safer and sexier. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a lady hot tub
It's
fight.
all about snuggle
They could wear
proximity.
like sexy bikinis rather than the combat gear. Same with the gentlemen. They could the shiny little speedos. I think it's a hit.
Until you get your first like face down floating body. At the end of it, like, what have we done?
So you get that.
We forgot to account for drowning. Oh my god.
But this car is such a high risk, low reward idea. Like, it's a high risk of boredom and death. Like when you see him smashing up the sharp metal of the windshield, you're like, well, yeah, someone's
And
someone's
one guy
gonna
even
get
like
there.
looked down at it.
He's like, this sucks. This hurts.
I felt like both fighters looked at that and were like, we're gentlemen.
Yeah, well, one guy was getting like shoved into it. He was getting punched, and then while he's getting punched, he goes, "Ow, what the fuck?" And he looked down at his hip because his kidneys were about to spill out.
I feel like the other guy backed off too. He was like, "Oh no, that looks like it sucks. Let's not do that."
Yeah, he's like, "No, that's not cool, man. My bad." Yeah,
Sorry, bro. But then there's also just like, you'll like rip open your bicep or your throat on some plastic chunk you never thought about. Like just the little thing on the seatbelt. It's just like, okay, yeah, that just like ripped a big chunk out of my human flesh.
I was interesting that one guy actually did think to use to strangle somebody with the seatbelt.
Yes.
Well, that's the second fight. That guy just opened up with the seatbelt choke. He's like, I can't wait for the referee to say go.
He had a
because
plan.
I'm going to
I've got
strangle
plan
you
A.
See,
with
he
the
did some
seatbelt.
car training.
Yeah, he's murdered somebody in a car before. This was not
This is how I did
necessarily
it.
training. This wasn't necessarily sports specific. He just knows how to do it.
It was so funny when it was such a genuine punchline when they came back for the second fight, because like the armor thing taught me, like, okay, they don't know what they're doing. They're just kind of throwing shit at the wall, seeing if this is interesting, and the answer is usually no. But then they did the car fight, and it was like, yeah, that wasn't that great. Then you booked a second one?
It's a 4-man card fight tournament.
It was an elimination fight. Yeah.
Yes.
And there's another thing we didn't mention. Like, could have used some work. The ref that says go is off to one side. So like one guy has a blind spot because he's looking at the ref to know when to go, and then the other guy he could see the ref and his opponent, and so like the one that was the experienced choker had the advantage, and so he was able to just activate his game plan immediately. And that guy was spent most of the time being asphyxiated by a seatbelt.
I think what was funny about that is that the other guy was like stuck in the seating position. Like he couldn't like get up because he's getting choked and punched. And so it just looks like he's calmly like waiting for the beating to end.
He's like, this traffic is miserable.
It looks like just a really bad carpool.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in a chair.
Look, I know, but it saves a lot on gas.
I think they should have a soda in the cup holder and some like important things like tablets or laptops that they're not allowed to break. Just stuff. Just if we're recreating a car fight, like let's do it.
It's like Corey Haim's driving test from License to Drive. You spilled this coffee on me, you fail.
I remember that.
You know what? Baby in a car seat.
Baby in a car seat.
Baby in a car seat.
Don't let that baby die.
The baby cannot die. Go.
Mustache guy that likes to choke, do not throw the baby out of the car right away.
Fuck. That was my plan A through D. That was a car fight. Amazing. So stupid. Will never in a million years be fun or cool. Like an idiot could have told you this would suck, and it did. So now there's a 10-man battle royale, which might be even dumber.
I thought it was I had the most potential out of all of these things.
Right. But it is a wreck. The host is in a little gladiator costume, and he is screaming for them to wait. He's like, un momento, chingas, un momento. And they all just ignore him and start fighting. And so the camera guy's like, wait, what's
like, okay.
You're like, what's your going? You're not gonna go back to the start line.
There's 10 of us here. You don't have that kind of control over us.
You have lost control. You have put too many angry guys in one space. You were no longer the boss.
They're itchy. Yeah,
This is what's going to happen to billionaires. This is exactly. You're watching it in real time.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be good. I hate that Zuckerberg will win. He's the only one training for this.
He's the only one that has any sort of fucking skill.
So let me try to set the stage a little. This is just a wrestling match, like a high school wrestling mat with red on the outside. And if you get shoved into the red, you lose. It's a giant sumo flat pad. There's no ring or cage or anything.
And you can punch and kick, and some people were kind of trying to do it, but the meta was just shove, big shove.
I was on board with this before it started, and then he went start, and then 5 seconds later he went, okay, stop. Everybody's out.
Yes.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What did we do?
It was playing it was like musical chairs or something.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos.
This is what happens with group sumo. This is why we don't do group sumo, is because it's over really fucking fast.
Do you think the Japanese didn't start with group sumo and then they just refined it into one-on-one? We've done this already.
Yeah. You're reinventing the wheel, you dumb shit. So they kind of just restart it, right? Everyone's uneliminated, and now there's teams. I'm so confused. Again, I don't speak Spanish very well.
Yeah, it was 5-on-5 at some point.
I think I figured out what happened. I think there was some arbitrary number, and I think it's probably under half, that when you get to half, the fight stops, and then all the people who were knocked out have to fight the people that are left.
Okay.
So then there was 3 guys that were legitimately still in the ring. When he stopped, when they hit that part. And so then all the guys that were knocked out have to come back in and fight them. And then we find out very quickly over and over again several more times that there's a reason the 3 guys were there in the first place, which we could have found out the very first round and just not done this again.
Yep.
Because the results do not change. They just push them all out again, and then they come back and they push them all out again.
One of them is 300 pounds, and most of them are very small men. And so there's a really funny moment. Again, it's all chaos. So who knows if you even saw this. But a tiny little guy tried to attack the 300-pounder, and he kind of just bonked him, and he went flying so far that 12 to 13 feet away, and he hit the ground, and it's okay, you're eliminated. And he's like, what?
No, I didn't see that. I saw the guy with the blue shorts discover, oh my God, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Because he started just Street Fighter throwing people out of the ring.
Yep.
Was he the blonde psycho with the Conor McGregor tattoo on his back?
Maybe.
Because there's the big guy, the bald guy, and then the blonde guy.
The blonde guy, the guy with the blue shorts, was just he was just running around playing the best game of freeze tag of his life, discovering that I was meant for this, and then simultaneously realizing, oh no, I was meant for something that will never happen again.
Yeah.
At least 2 guys got eliminated just retreating from strikes, like you might in a sparring match, and they're like, oh, you just ran out, you dumbass, and they're like, what? And almost everybody who got eliminated is like, no, I didn't get eliminated. Look, my hand's still touching. They're like, no, fucker. It's if something touches the red, you're out. Sometimes it's 2 things have to touch. Nobody was clear on the rules. And so every single guy had an argument. Yeah. And fair enough. I wasn't clear on the rules either. The announcers were also very confused. They're kind of just making noises. One of them goes, super complicado. I'm like, yeah, dude, I agree.
Said that so many times, over and over again. This is super complicated. Is maybe not the thing you want to be stopping a giant brawl to say over and over again. All right, everybody stop.
It's a bad sport.
We've broken some bylaws of the brawl.
After the whole Double Dragon fake out, I was almost hoping the guy was like, hey, you know what, guys? Because you didn't listen to me at the very beginning, we're starting this whole fucking thing over again. All right?
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening. I was like, okay, let's do it. There was just this looks so much. This looks so much cooler before they started doing it. When they were setting up for it, and there's a guy dressed like a mad Roman emperor, and just a bunch of beefcakes on a huge red square. I'm like, fucking, this is some Squid Game shit that's gonna happen.
Yeah, some Logan's Run.
You could have had everybody who has been in this competition so far fight, including the guys in armor, including the car. including everybody.
Bro, bring that car back.
Yes. Bangkok knockout that shit.
I'm always about a man versus car fight.
Bangkok knockout. Be so good.
Could have just done it by bringing everyone back. Like, I was expecting there to be a weasel, like a guy that just ran around punching people who were already in fights, but not refusing to fight himself.
Yeah.
That would have been something to watch.
I think a trapdoor would be nice.
A trapdoor? A hippo? Put a hippo in there? Trapdoor leading to the hippo pit? Put everybody on rollerblades? We've got roller games, baby.
So many modifiers could make this just a little bit more interesting.
There's a real moment in here that I loved where it was the three guys and they were facing off against like this team that kept losing guys because those three were actually really good at whatever the stupid sport is. And it got down to one. So it's three guys on one and they know there's no chance of this guy shoving anybody out. So they just take turns like throwing door breaching kicks at him. Like they're just stomping on this fucking dude's head.
Yeah.
While he's standing there.
And I think even after all of that, he still was like, what, I'm out?
Yeah.
Like
he still wouldn't go out. Like they're all just like, oh, I got this. I got to field goal this fucking guy right out of the mat. Like, okay, my turn.
And the little bald guy was there to like hit people. He was the only one that was like throwing punches. And I could only think like, out of all the people that got eliminated, imagine if you were the only one that got eliminated by punches. You'd be like, man, what the fuck? Like that's nobody else got punched. That sucked.
No, we were all playing freeze tag, man. It was great.
Yep. It was so fun.
I did a break fall. It was pretty nice, you know. It landed very softly.
Your guy was just a jerk. I was just frankly rude.
It did end with a guy choking out. Like instead of shoving the final guy out, he like threw him on the mat and just cranked on his neck.
Yeah. I mean, once it's down to two guys, it's easy to not get pushed out of the ring.
Yeah.
Fucking come at me, Sumo, apparently.
Yeah, bald guy came to hurt somebody. He was not there just to gently toss people into safety.
Just poor blue shorts guy to realize that you found your calling and it's tricking guys out of a ring in this one specific scenario. And then the win condition for all of this is okay, but how good are you at strangling? And it turns out not very.
I'm a trickster. That was my class.
Yeah.
I'm out of my element.
Yeah,
now.
you spec'd into Rogue and then had a melee fight.
I think we did a great podcast, guys. For the bonus podcast, I'm going to drive to your house. We're all going to get in the car and we're just going to fuck each other up.
All right. I'm going to push you out the window and hammer you in the ass.
100 Frankfurt. 100 Frankfurt. Unser Podcast genau. Und mit maximalem Schau. Dog Frankfurt Podcast. Korrekt. Ja. Der Kraft ist nicht gratis, nicht ohne. Schick die in die Hundezone. 4 eine Stunde.